How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and today I wanted to do a bit of a update slash happenings slash events slash gaming news video. It might be a little bit of a long one, but I'm going to try to make sure it's not and not get too long-winded. But I wanted to go over some stuff that I've been able to do as far as traveling goes, what to expect here on the channel, some news that especially hit Magic the Gathering, and I want to give my opinions about it, and anything else just happens to pop in my head while I'm doing this video. So without any further ado, my friends, let's get started. All right, first up, let's go over what I've been doing recently. So the Halloween season is behind us now. We are now getting into the Thanksgiving and Christmas season, but there's something that I did during Halloween that I never thought I would do, and that was check out a haunted attraction, a bit of a haunted house type area. And the one I went to with some friends of mine was Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. Now, in Woods of Terror, there are 16 different haunt locations that you go throughout the duration of the event. But not only do you have that, you have the Monster Midway. Now, the Midway is basically an interactive area where you're encountering monsters that you would not encounter during your time on the trail of Woods of Terror. Not only do you have that, but you actually have axe throwing, you have live music, you have celebrity meetup opportunities. Sometimes you will have sideshows that will be taking place at this event. There was the Dead City Circus sideshow, which basically is classic shock and awe sideshow attractions like putting a nail through your nose, or swallowing a sword, or feats of mind over matter, the likes of which that can leave you a little bit squeamish, but at the same time, it's pretty dang awesome to actually see that take place. Uh, there, you also get a chance to, like I said, meet Bone Daddy, who's the person that's in control of the Woods of Terror. You have all of these different scare actors that are amazing characters, and the costuming is just fantastic. And then you have the Woods of Terror itself, which is a 16 attraction event that has everything from AIs taking over the world. You have classic movie monsters like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. You have the Texas House, which is basically a homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You had the newest attraction, Fungus Among Us, which is a take on The Last of Us. The brand new one, Baba Yaga, which is an amazing setup. 2 stories of just awesomeness and uneasy feeling when you go in, but it does smell like Bed Bath & Beyond. And so much more that you get to take in during the duration of this event. And best of all, in the midway, you're able to take pictures with some of these amazing actors and the performers that are there. And I was able to meet up with Lavinia, which was the sword swallower for Dead City Circus Sideshow. I wish I could have seen him perform, but unfortunately we got caught in a traffic from a car accident. We weren't able to see the opening ceremonies, weren't able to see them perform, but hopefully sometime in the future I'll be able to see them in person. But if you want to check them out, definitely check them out on Facebook, on YouTube, and I'll include links below so you can check them out here on the interwebs. All right, a little bit of a behind the scenes thing. So the clip you just saw of all the pictures and everything from Woods of Terror, I did notice that I said check them out a whole lot, so I'm glad I didn't turn this into somewhat of a coffee drinking game if you're watching this in the morning, or a soda drinking game, because chances are you probably finished off a 20-ounce bottle or 3 cups of coffee right about now after I said check them out a lot. That'll probably be my word of the day for this video. But anyway, so with Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina, I never thought that I would go to that kind of an event. I never thought I'd be a person that would actively go out and go to a haunted attraction. And I would like to thank Brad and Kayla and Vito for joining me on that adventure. And it was a whole lot of fun. Now, granted, like I said, we didn't get a chance to see the opening ceremonies. We didn't get a chance to see the Dead City Circus Sideshow. But the time we were there, it was a blast. The scare actors in the midway were having a marvelous time with everybody. And you had 3 different people, 3 different groups of people that were there. You had people that just did not pay attention to scare actors. You had people that would interact with the scare actors and have fun with them, which is what we did. And then you had people who were terrified. And there was one girl, bless her, she She was terrified of chainsaws. And this one scare actor, she was all covered in blood, and she was just had this devious look in her eyes. She had a chainsaw ready, and this girl, I'll never forget, she flinched a little bit, and the scare actor was like, "I got one," and she just revved up that chainsaw, and before you know it, she was chasing that girl all around that midway, and I was going like, "And there she goes, and she's coming back," and it was fun. It was a whole lot of fun. It was a blast, and I want to thank Woods of Terror and McLaren Farms for putting on that event because it gives people an opportunity not only during the Halloween season but just in general to get away for a few hours and to just escape the weird world that we live in and go into a weirder, more amazing world at Woods of Terror. And this also goes for like all the other haunt places during the Halloween season because there's so much that you're going to expect to see and experience in those, and it's a whole lot of fun. And if you like to get scared, definitely check out Woods of Terror. Um, they do have other events that are going on. They have a halfway to Halloween event that happens in May. They have Krampus Christmas that'll be happening the first weekend of December, which I'm going to try to go to it. If I do, I'll have some video on here for it, and it'll be a blast. But yeah, I never thought I would go to a haunted attraction, but now that we're into the end of the Halloween season, I'm really glad I was able to do it. And hopefully next time, maybe I can show more of the haunts. But I was able to get pictures of Midway, and I was able to just take in that atmosphere. And hopefully I can do a bit more of that next year. And who knows what's going to happen. But hopefully when I do, you'll join me and we'll be able to experience it together. And you'll probably see me get dizzy and be scared because it happened a good little bit at the event. So, but it was a whole lot of fun either way. And hopefully you'll be able to join me when that happens next year. All right, next up. Now we got to talk about Magic the Gathering because over the past couple months, that game has gone through so many different changes for both Commander first and then the game in general. So I want to do a little bit of a catch up because I wasn't able to cover anything during the Commander happening. So a little while ago, the Commander Rules Committee did a banning for 4 cards, which were Jewel Lotus, Dockside Extortionist, Nadu, Winged Wisdom, and Mana Crypt. And long story short, it caused an uproar with the Commander community to the point where the Commander Rules Committee finally had to say, Wizards, we want you to take over the Commander format. And as of now, Commander, which was originally a community-ran format for Magic the Gathering, is now in the hands of Wizards of the Coast, their game design team, and they just recently made a Commanders panel of, I think it was like 17 different people that are able to contribute to make sure the format stays healthy. The Commander Rules Committee was a group of 5 people that had the, not burden, but they had a huge responsibility in the helping keep the Commander format healthy and exciting and like really keep it going and make it an enjoyable format for everybody, whether it be a new player or a CEDH player. But when they did that banning, they went a little bit further than they should. They should have done it in steps, and they should have let people know ahead of time, like, hey, this might be happening, so just give you a heads up. We're doing, say, for example, they banned 2 cards, Nadu, Winged Wisdom, and Dockside Extortionist, which were basically 2 of the lower end cards, even though Dockside Extortionist, money value wise, was about 70, $80. And then you had Nadu, Winged Wisdom, that was about 3 or 4. But the other 2 cards, Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus, were well over $100 each. They should have just done 2 separate bannings, but let people know, hey, Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt are probably going to end up getting banned. We want to give you the heads up because of these reasons. And I think it would have went down a little bit easier, but unfortunately the way it went, and they did all the bannings in one shot, it definitely caused an uproar with the Commander community for a lot of players. And it definitely went a lot further than it should, causing some of the Commander Rules Committee to feel uneasy about actually going out to events because of some of the messaging that they were getting. But hopefully now that we're through all of this, that Commander format can stay healthy, and Wizards does the best that it can with this new Commander panel to keep it a fun format for community play. And it's a social format, and that's one of the only things I really play for Magic the Gathering. I play a lot of Commander, and I love it because it's a social format. But now you have the opportunity for Wizards to listen to the community, and hopefully that's a case to where they don't do anything that's really outrageous or print cards that can replicate what happened with Jewel Lotus, what happens with Dockside Extortionist and things of that nature, and keep the format healthy. And hopefully they'll listen to the community with that. But the big takeaway from it, out of everything that happened, is this. If you are, for a lot of players that were not pleased with the announcement, you have the right to voice your opinion. You have the right to voice your dismay and your anger because of the way it affects your collection, the way it affects your gameplay, things of that nature. But when it gets to the point where you start to threaten people with physical violence, and you start to threaten people that next time you saw them at an event that you would do something to them, that's going out of line. And to me, that was the worst that I've seen out of the Commander community. And it doesn't show that often, thankfully, but this was one of those cases that you need to step back and figure out what you're doing in gaming. Because when you start threatening people because of a banning, that's taking it too far. You do have the right to be mad. You do have the right to be upset because of a banning, whether it's hitting you financially, whether it's hitting your deck style, whether it's hitting your play style, anything like that. You have the right to voice your opinion, but you don't have the right to threaten somebody. That is going over the line. It is never right. It is never acceptable. And when you start threatening people over a card game, you need to step back for a minute and think about what's going on, because you should not be making people that uncomfortable because of a ruling or because of a banning that they did. But that's my opinion on it. And I just wanted to say that. And it took me a while to actually figure out how I was going to say it because of how everything happened. And I tried to do that kind of video earlier when things happened, but I decided not to. And I just want to make it a short and sweet statement like I just did. So that's just my opinion on what happened with Commander. But now, because we just got done with Worlds in Las Vegas and MagicCon, big announcement happened over the weekend, last weekend, that Universes Beyond, those sets which were originally just going to be in Secret Lairs, and then they started to make booster sets that would only be legal in Modern, they're now legal in every constructed format. And that's a huge change. So, for example, we had Lord of the Rings, we had Assassin's Creed. Those two were made for Modern, but you could also play them in older formats like Legacy and Vintage and Commander. But now you have Universes Beyond in Standard and in Pioneer and basically any constructed format. And that is an unprecedented move, because for the longest time we were being told by Wizard of the Coast to the players that Universes Beyond would be something that you can just interact with if you want to. So if you want to interact with Walking Dead or like Warhammer 40K or Fallout, things of that nature, you could choose to interact with them, you could choose not to. But then they made Assassin's Creed in Modern, and they made Lord of the Rings in Modern. Now, Lord of the Rings didn't have a problem with, for the simple fact it's a fantasy. Pretty cool. Assassin's Creed, okay, you're starting to get a little bit on the multiverse melding type deal. But you know what? It was still a cool thing to have in Modern because there were some really great cards in it, and it looked like a whole lot of fun. But now, starting in 2025, half the sets that will be coming out will be of other IPs, will no longer just be Magic the Gathering. And I know a lot of people have been putting their 2 cents in on it, and I know recently the professor from Tolarian Academy voiced their opinion, and there's some things I agree, some things I disagree, but you know what? Everybody's got an opinion. You can choose to agree or disagree with it. Like when I give opinions on these videos, if you agree, cool. If you disagree, cool. And I would love to talk about it too. Like you can put it in the comments and I'll be more than glad to discuss it. And I've done that on several other videos and I've done it in person. But my feelings about this, as a player that has been a part of the game on and off since '95, it as far as having other IPs in the game, it didn't really bother me that much because having it in Commander and stuff like that, you can make a cool Commander deck and have, hey, I got Ian Malcolm as my Commander, or I have uh, Negan from The Walking Dead and stuff like that. And you can make the Commander format your own because people were doing that for proxies anyway. They would choose a character within the game and then they would make a proxy of it and have the art altered to where it could be your favorite character. And that was awesome. But just the way it is now, having it to where you have to play it, you have to interact with it in standard and all these constructive formats, I think is taking it a little bit far. And the reason why is that standard would always be that set to where you would see how the stories would progress, how the stories would unfold within the realm of Magic the Gathering and the multiverse. But now the multiverse is expanded so much now that you have all of this stuff going on with next year you have Spider-Man, you have Final Fantasy, you have a third undisclosed Universes Beyond set. But then you have Aether Drift, you have um, one based on the Eternities, like on the Blind Eternities, and then you have uh, the Return to Khans of Tarkir, and it makes you wonder what's going on with the game, and rightfully so because it's turning more into a versus system slash UFS slash uh, Union Arena, where you're taking all these different IPs, you're putting them together, and you're trying to make something memorable, yet you already had something memorable in the way Magic the Gathering was and the storylines. And granted, unfortunately, the storylines have been messed up twice because they had two climactic battles over the past few years. One with Nicol Bolas against the Planeswalkers and trying to stop Bolas from becoming this all powerful God Pharaoh and just like uber Planeswalker, and the story fell flat. The same thing with March of the Machines was supposed to be this epic in-game type scenario where you had the five Phyrexians Praetors going up against the entire multiverse, and it only ended in one set. It should have ended in several sets. It should have been like this big, long, climactic battle of 2 or 3 sets, but they figured, one set, we're good, and a little bit of an aftermath. But that's a different story. But 2025 is now where Magic is changing forever, or the foreseeable future. The mindset may change forever, but having IPs from different things that are not Magic the Gathering, it does slowly take away from what made Magic different from a lot of card games because you had this intricate story and you were able to see the different parts of the multiverse. And yes, I know this year we went to the Wild West. We went to a plane where now you have detectives and everything. And you went to Duskmorn where it was like a giant haunted house and you had sneakers and TVs and you had all the horror tropes that you can possibly ever imagine. But that's the cool thing about Magic is that yes, you may have these weird type settings, but all like it's part of a multiverse. Like, yeah, it makes sense that at some point there's gonna be a Wild West part of the multiverse. There's some point where it's gonna be horror iconic tropes and everything in one, or you're gonna have one plane where you have actually a detective agency because in the plane of Ravnica, you have 10 guilds, and those 10 guilds, I guarantee, are not going to be working together for a lot of things. So, wouldn't you have a somewhat of a police thing that would help out? Not just the Azorius, but just something or some group that was going to be able to help out in general to make sure everything stayed right with Ravnica? But I know that this is going to be a giant shift for a lot of players, and most players are not happy with it. And you can let Wizards know, you can let Hasbro know, because remember, Wizards of the Coast is a Hasbro subsidiary type deal. So Hasbro's the ones that are going like, hey, we got all these IPs. Start putting them in the games. Simple as that. And Wizards can go, well, we don't know about that. And Hasbro's like, we'll pay you. So just remember, it's not just the people of Wizards of the Coast. They have to listen to people that are higher up. And Hasbro has all these different IPs, and they're probably going, you know what? It's about time we put them into the game. Do it. Not just secret layers. We want full sets. We want commander decks. We want everything. Do it. And Now it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2025 when we have our first Marvel set in Spider-Man hit the shelves, and it'll be the first Universes Beyond set to be featured in Standard. Now, Final Fantasy, looking forward to it. I've always been a Final Fantasy fan. If they put Golbez and the Four Fiends from American Final Fantasy 2, I'm in. That's a commander deck for me right there, if I can. But there's so much that, as Magic players, we can be looking forward to. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. It's going to be a time of change. And there's going to be some stuff we might like, we might not like. But all in all, it's a thing where we need to just step back and think about what's going to happen in the future, and think about what's going to happen with the game. And I know Wizards is doing their best to make Standard a thing again, and this is probably an attempt for them using Universes Beyond. It might be a step in the wrong direction, but if you look at on the other side, the step in the right direction is Foundations that are getting ready to come out shortly, because that is a tremendous core set that you could start playing Standard right there. And Foundations is an amazing set. Love it. And I can't wait to start playing with Foundation cards, because there's a lot of really cool new cards in the set, a lot of cool reprints. Plus, the Jumpstart ones are going back to old form, where it has like a bunch of new cards you can use. There's a lot of great commanders, and I can't wait to play with Foundations. But I know this part of it got a little bit long-winded, but you know what? It's Magic the Gathering. I'm passionate about that game because I've been playing it for so long, and I want it to still be around for a long, long time. But just some of these moves sometimes can shake the foundations of it. Got Foundations coming out. And hopefully, if the players and the fans don't take the Foundations, then they can go, hey, we need to start reevaluating what we're going to do here. And that might end up being the case, but only time will tell, my friends, what the future holds for Magic in 2025 and beyond. All right, finally on here, I want to talk about some events that are getting ready to come up here in the next few months in Roanoke and any others that I can think of, because Roanoke and the Carolinas, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Like I mentioned before, in December at the McLaren Farms, Woods of Terror presents Krampus Christmas. That should be a whole lot of fun to check out. In February, it's been announced that Big League Comic Con will be returning to the Berglund Center. And it's the first week of February, and it is going to be a big one. We have the reunion of the TMNT, the original voice actors from the animated series back in the 80s. We also have Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers. They'll be making an appearance at Big League Comic Con, which is going to be amazing. Paul Schrier, like the gentlemen that played Bulk and Skull were basically a kid's version of Abbott and Costello to me. Those two played off each other really well, and they still do this very day. And plus, Paul Schrier was officially now a Power Ranger in Power Rangers Hyperforce, and I can't wait to meet him. Just hearing all the stories about those two, like hearing all the convention stories, that they're amazing guys, they're awesome, and I can't wait to meet them in person, and hopefully I can. And then in April, I'm bringing it up again because I'm going to start promoting this a bit more, because it's something that I really do believe it's going to be something special. And as the Screamiverse Expo in April, that event keeps getting bigger and bigger. There's a good number of guests that have already been announced. There's going to be tattoo artists there to make sure you can walk away with a permanent souvenir from the Screamiverse Expo. Plenty of vendors. There's going to be makeup tutorials. There's also going to be a blood drive, which makes perfect sense. Hopefully they dress up as vampires for it, because it'd be the perfect time to do it. And a whole lot more that'll be taking place at Screamiverse Expo in April. And then finally, just here on the channel, there's a lot of stuff getting ready to come up. I'm getting ready to have a video for Alpha Clash TCG, the newest set that's getting ready to come out, Genesis Returns. I'll be doing a review on the starters for that, and showing you a little bit about the gameplay, because the new game or new to me game, and I got a chance to talk to them. They sent me a few of the boosters and a starter set, and Pestilence in the game looks a little bit like Joker, but I'll show you that in that video. There's also the Flawed trading card game, which is basically a game that features the mechanics of trading card games like collectability and all, but then you also have a mechanic from Mistvale where you get to alter the cards in a cool way, and I'll be showing that as well. Plus, Buddy Pal Games sent me Catch 33, which is a brand new game that are getting ready to launch on Kickstarter soon. It's a dice sliding game that I'll be able to show you, and a lot more that I'm going to be working on. And I'm just going to be busy for the next few months, and hopefully you all will join us here on the channel and enjoy the content that we put out there. And if you do, make sure you interact with the videos. Make sure you spread the word about House Hedge Gaming. Make sure you like, share, comment. Make sure you tell people to subscribe because there's a lot of stuff getting ready to happen in 2025. And I would love for all of you to be a part of it. Well, there you have it. That is everything I wanted to cover. Covered being scared, Magic the Gathering, upcoming events, upcoming videos. Yeah, that's about it. Got it taken care of. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let everyone know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs and pop culture needs a little bit, and just wrestling and all that other good stuff, because I love talking with all of you and getting to interact with you on the comments and everything. And I do this because of you. I do this because I wanted to share my love of gaming and everything originally, but now it's starting to morph a little bit more, and hopefully you all enjoy that. And there's still be plenty of gaming on here, trying to do more playthroughs and everything, and hopefully you'll join us for it. But until next time, my friends, stay safe and take care.